Today, I'm sitting down with Jim from Jim's Mowing and a number of other successful Jim's franchises to learn who the man behind the face is and to discover the secrets behind running successful businesses over the span of 40 years. I reached out to Jim for an interview via email and he responded instantly. Within 40 minutes, we'd agreed a time and place. The place? His national head office. Have you been working with Jim for a while? Or?
I've been here for a year now.
Cool.
Yeah. No, it's progressing a lot.
Jim wasn't ready for an interview, so we were taken to the Zen garden by an employee.
Potentially see a turtle.
There was a cat, but no sign of turtles or Jim just yet. Is there a name for that cat?
We all name it different names.
The Zen garden was chill, but I wanted to know where Jim gave lectures.
Yep, so this is the lecture theatre. This is where everybody learns about becoming a franchisee. It's more lively obviously when we've got a full crowd of people. So that book gets given to every single franchisee that starts with us.
Cool. And it's just informational?
Yeah, it's very involved. Very involved. I've never worked at a company before where the founder is that involved.
That involved, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim sounded like an approachable and inspiring leader, but everything I'd heard was starting to sound a bit rehearsed.
Absolutely, it's a big thing for people to come in and buy a franchise.
Do you mind answering that one for the camera? Because that's kind of the overarching question. We're trying to build a character for Jim.
Oh, do you want both? What do you want, a character?
Oh, not a character, but it's like an informational report about who he is kind of thing.
Oh,
That's true if you see her every day.
Is it, if it's daunting? It's not daunting at all.
Yeah.
No.
It's not a good look to refer to your boss as daunting on camera, but without meeting the man himself, there's no way I could really tell. I'm here at the Zen garden at Jim's head offices. As I started my intro, we got word that Jim had finally arrived. The wait was over, but a long road still stood between us and an epic first impression. These are my colleagues, Brenton and Alex.
Hey Jim, nice to meet you, brother.
The fist bump helped ease tension, but his careful choice of words meant things were still frosty. Pretty big complex. Frost aside, I couldn't believe I was following an iconic Australian businessman.
Nice version.
After we got some privacy, Jim relaxed.
That's DNA, obviously.
Yeah. I watched a video on a pumpkin planting competition the other day because those things get quite huge.
Yeah, it's fun. Planting stuff is fun. I've got peas and carrots and stuff.
I thought we'd warm up with discussion of vegetables and crops.
Pumpkins and potatoes seem to work pretty well.
All this farm talk had relaxed both of us, so it was time to get into it.
That's my... I'm off tomorrow. I've finished the potatoes now. Where are they? That's my potato patch on my farm.
Oh yeah, nice one. I knew Jim was in the business of potato farming, but as far as talking what made him a millionaire, he wasn't so interested.
That's about... I don't know how much space there'd be. Must be...
Instead, we spoke about his real passion, epigenetics. The study of how your behaviours and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work.
Because my ideas were far too outside the mainstream.
Yeah, okay. And that deemed so by other people? Or
everybody, yeah. I think it's a fair shot of being academically convincing. We've also made a lot of advances.
If Jim was able to identify the link between particular genes and behaviours, he could alter people's behaviour by modifying the genes. This was the final frontier of science.
There's a concept called slow life history strategy, fast life history strategy. I don't think know much biology.
Not so much.
Okay.
It felt like Jim was testing my character.
Very short-term thinking, long-term thinking. Now, people can change between these two mechanisms. You think long-term, which is like going to university, getting a job. You think short-term, which is like what feels good right now. Okay. Long-term slow life history strategy is associated with business success, economic growth, short-term associated with things like crime and unemployment and so forth, but also to do with drug addiction. It's to do with, you think, long-term, short-term. So what we're trying to do is to shift
He'd blessed me with an explanation of the key to everything.
orientation.
But at what cost?
For the long term by affecting the basic physiology of the brain, and that's got to do with the structure of the limbic system, like the amygdala, the hippocampus, those kinds of areas of the brain.
It felt like the business teacher was taking modern history instead.
What happened with the Roman Empire when it went from republic to empire? Why? Because your impersonal loyalties are lost. But what you see in the Roman Empire is that the core group of Romans actually, which was very vigorous one, not a very nice people, I never liked them very much. But
We'd been talking for 40 minutes, and at this point, I couldn't help but notice the Mentos that Jim had placed between us.
everything is character. People have this idea that intelligence is what counts. Intelligence probably accounts for about 4%. Family connections, maybe help a bit, I don't know. But it's 96% character in my view. Everything.
I wanted nothing more than to pay attention, but a lack of willpower was preventing me.
Religion in general is the foundation of the character. It's what's behind the character that makes relations great and successful. That's what they are. They're what I call, by history terms, they're cultural technologies.
As a child, I had a serious sweet tooth.
Ooh, piece of candy.
I would take trips to McDonald's every week and never said no to a Subway cookie.
Ooh, piece of candy.
I thought I'd grown out of that phase, but some things never change.
Ooh, piece of candy.
When wealth and urbanisation becomes too strong, it undermines that. So it's happening in all countries in the West, everywhere. We are in the process of civilization decline, which is the classic result of wealth and urbanisation. And it happens to all wealthy urban societies, and it's happening to us very fast. What happened with the Roman Empire when it went...
Jim said he had a meeting and the interview suddenly came to an end.
Appreciate it.
I don't know if grabbing those Mentos had cut things short, but I did know our Roman Empire had fallen. It was time to leave the national head office. I left not knowing who was in the driver's seat of the interview. I felt like I'd captured a clear reflection of Jim's character, but questioned whether this was just how he made people feel. Building trust through conveying some of his deepest beliefs. I wonder if he mows his own lawns.
Didn't ask him if he does his own mowing around there. That would have just been a +1. I think we got enough.
Either way, I couldn't shake the feeling that Jim wanted me to explore my own character. And there were some questions that definitely needed answering.
He is an utter incompetent.
Much like the goats on his property, I felt trapped in Jim's world. He'd given me a lot to think about. I didn't need that Mentos, but I reached for it anyway. It was then when I realized I wasn't trapped, but free instead. I actually resisted the Mentos nearly the whole conversation, and then went for it. I had power over whether I wanted one for nearly the whole interview, and with power comes freedom.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?